In the ever-evolving world of Formula One, few names carry the weight and influence of Adrian Newey. With a career that spans over 3 decades and championship-winning stints at Williams, McLaren, and most recently Red Bull Racing, Newey is not just a designer. He's an architect of dynasties. So when someone like him decides to move teams, the entire paddock pays attention. And now, having joined Aston Martin after an astonishing 18-year run at Red Bull that yielded 6 Constructors' Championships and 8 Drivers' titles, Newey is already shaping the narrative around the Silverstone-based team in a way that could redefine its future. Newey's arrival at Aston Martin is not merely a recruitment win. It signals ambition at the highest level. For years, Aston Martin has sat just outside the elite group, showing flashes of brilliance, but never quite sustaining the momentum to challenge the sport's powerhouses consistently. In 2023, the team started strong, especially through the veteran presence of Fernando Alonso, but development faltered as the season progressed. Fast forward to 2025, and the team finds itself in 7th place after 6 rounds, with Alonso yet to score a point. It's a far cry from the lofty ambitions laid out by Executive Chairman Lawrence Stroll, who has invested heavily to transform the outfit from its humble racing point days into a full-fledged championship contender. But now, with Newey on board, there's a renewed sense of belief. Speaking in his first official interview since joining the team, Newey opened up about his initial impressions of life at Aston Martin. True to form, his observations were measured, grounded, and focused on the fundamentals: people and purpose. When you join a new team, it's always difficult to know what the experience is going to be, he said. Each has been very different. The first thing I can say about the team is that everyone has been very welcoming, which is great. It hasn't always been the case when I've started with a new team. It's a statement that's easy to overlook but reveals a lot. Culture, chemistry, and collaboration are what separate good teams from great ones in Formula One. Newey's comment underlines how important that human element is, even in a sport that's known for being at the cutting edge of technology. And at Aston Martin, he seems to have found a group of people who are eager, energetic, and open to the challenge ahead. The team's new facilities, which include a state-of-the-art campus and one of the most advanced wind tunnels in the sport, have already caught Newey's attention. Lawrence's vision has created a great facility, the best facility in F1, he said, before tempering the praise with a classic Newey dose of pragmatism. But it is important that we now optimize how we use it. He pointed out that Red Bull, despite operating from what he called an unremarkable series of buildings on an industrial estate, was able to achieve greatness by getting the best out of its people. And in that lies the blueprint for Aston Martin's rise. There's no question that the team is better resourced than ever before. Stroll's investment has been immense, not just financially but structurally. New departments have been formed. Key hires have been made. The infrastructure is now in place. But what Newey is emphasizing is that having top-tier facilities and clever tools means nothing if they're not used effectively. We have many talented people, also a few areas that need strengthening, and we need to get everyone working together better, using these tools and developing our abilities. This is where Newey's true value lies. It's not just in the CFD data or the sketches he draws at 3 in the morning. It's in how he pulls together the various disciplines in a Formula One operation and directs them toward a common goal. That's what he did at Williams in the early 90s. That's what he replicated at McLaren. And that's precisely what he helped foster at Red Bull alongside Christian Horner and Helmut Marko during a dominant era. Now, Aston Martin hopes he can do the same in green. But what makes this transition even more intriguing is the timing. Newey is not joining the team just to tweak the current car or oversee marginal gains. His eyes are set on 2026, when the next major overhaul of Formula One's technical regulations will take effect. These regulations are designed to introduce new aerodynamic and power unit frameworks, emphasizing efficiency, sustainability, and closer racing. On paper, they look restrictive, but Newey, ever the creative, sees opportunity where others might see constraint. My thoughts on the 2026 regulations are similar to what my thoughts were about the big regulation change for 2022, he explained. Initially thinking the regulations were so prescriptive that there wasn't much left here for a designer. But then you start to drill into the detail and realize there's more flexibility for innovation and different approaches than first meets the eye. This insight is crucial. When the 2022 rules came into play, teams took radically different approaches, some with wide side pods, others with no side pods at all. There was an initial period of divergence before convergence began. And this early stage of a new regulatory cycle is exactly where someone like Newey thrives. The blank slate invites risk takers. Those willing to see the gray areas and exploit them creatively often find an early advantage. And in Formula One, early advantage matters. It can define the competitive order for multiple seasons. That's the bet Aston Martin is making. While some teams are still focused on optimizing the final seasons of the current regulations, Newey's attention is already on what lies ahead. He knows that innovation is often front-loaded in new rule cycles. What a team gets right or wrong in those early development phases can make or break their title aspirations. And in Aston Martin's case, 2026 could be their golden window. Newey's belief that the 2026 rules offer more flexibility than first meets the eye is telling. He's hinting that while the surface may seem tightly controlled, the deeper layers are rich with possibilities. Possibilities that teams with the right vision and the right people can capitalize on. Variation between teams is great, he added. It's all a bit boring if the cars look identical and the only way you can tell them apart is the livery. In a world where Formula One is constantly balancing regulation with innovation, these moments of rule changes are where technical leaders like Newey shine brightest. They're the creative chaos navigators, the ones who can look beyond the wording of a regulation and see the performance potential hidden within. But none of this guarantees success. What Aston Martin is attempting is still a massive leap, from upper midfield contenders to regular race winners and eventually title challengers. It's a transformation that depends not only on having the right technical leadership, but also on execution, collaboration, and the ability to evolve under pressure. And with Fernando Alonso nearing the twilight of his career and Lance Stroll still looking to find consistency, the driver equation also needs attention. Still, the arrival of Adrian Newey changes the conversation entirely. It sends a message, not just to rivals, but to the team itself, that winning is not just a dream, but a target backed by one of the sharpest minds the sport has ever seen. And when someone of Newey's caliber calls your facility the best in F1, it becomes both a compliment and a challenge. A challenge to live up to the infrastructure, the investment, and now the legacy that Newey himself brings into the fold. As we look ahead to 2026, Aston Martin may well be writing a new chapter in its journey. A chapter where they're no longer the underdog, but a team with all the ingredients to compete at the very top. The question isn't whether they have the tools. They do. The question is whether they can use those tools in the right way, under the right leadership at the right time. And if anyone can lead that transformation, it's Adrian Newey. For fans and followers of Formula One, this marks a storyline worth watching closely. Not just for the potential upsets it could deliver, but for the sheer scale of change it represents. Newey isn't simply joining a new team. He's stepping into a project that could shake the foundation of the grid as we know it. The countdown to 2026 has already begun. And with Aston Martin now powered by the ideas and ambitions of one of Formula One's greatest visionaries, the rest of the field has every reason to pay close attention. Hello, McLaren faithful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss any McLaren and F1 updates with relaxing ASMR elements. Your support helps this incredible community grow stronger every day, and it's a small effort that goes a long way. Even if you can't contribute in other ways, it's completely free to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to keep the conversation going and share our passion for McLaren and F1. Your support helps keep the community thriving. Thank you for being part of McLaren Faithful.